All right, so it is dinner time once again in the, what do they call it? The land of the morning calm, I think is what they call Korea, which means absolutely nothing to me. But, so, a thing about Korea, a dish that everybody thinks of but thinks they know about and is wrong unless they've had it correctly. Ramen. So.
No, you said Ramyeon, not ramen.
So, there are two and a pretender types of noodles. If you're getting the whole top ramen, oodles of noodles, buy it from Walmart for 10 for $1, you're wrong. Fix your life. Second is the other main contender, which is the Japanese style, which is ramen. That's a Japanese R. It's kind of an RL rolled sound, ramen. But as good as it is, and we've had it in Okinawa, and I've had it in Tokyo before, and it is good, but it is a different style. They tend to make their sauce separate, and they boil their noodles right before it's ready to put the noodles into the pre-cooked sauce, and then most of the veggies are usually either raw or freshly sauteed, and then added in. So it's kind of a last-minute assembly of different stages of food. Good, but different style. What we are making is the Korean style ramyeon, which there are many ways of making, but I'm going to show you the one we're doing. So in general, ramyeon, at least when you're making it at home, will come out of an instant pack because making noodles is a pain in the ass. We are using, in particular, Shin Ramen, because I like my ramen a little hotter, and Jin Ramen, which is a more mild, because Melissa doesn't like it as hot as I do.
So we mix the two so that it gets a flavor that we both can handle.
Yeah. The consistency of the noodles, which is a very important thing, because different brands produce their noodles differently. Some are thinner and more crunchy. Some are, bigger and more airy, but they soak up more water and they get soggy faster. You find a brand that you like and you stick with it. Anyway, these two brands, the noodles are very similar in consistency, and that's how we roll. We mix the two together.
And both of us are happy.
So, how do you make ramen? First off...
Please tell us, Chuck.
First off, you generally have to have some sort of meat and or protein. So, because Korea, we're going with spam, which they sell in singles here, which I think they sell them in the States. I think I've seen them there.
Singles in the States, babe.
I've seen them before, but not often. This is a relatively new thing for me.
They do it in the States, too.
You can add pretty much whatever vegetables you want. We are going with Korean carrot and zucchini, and green onion, which we're going to use two ways. We're going to chop the green side in and cook it in with the rest of the vegetables. Otherwise, you could use a regular onion. And then we're going to keep some of the green end to use for topping. We have tteok, which is the rice cake that you may have seen us use before in the dakgalbi. That has to soak in water for a few minutes before you fry them up, so that's a thing to remember. We have mung beans, which I don't use very often, but these are very good added to ramen, and you literally just rinse them off and add them to it raw. And this is almost exclusively a Korean thing as far as I know, we've got eggs, which I'm going to stir up like they're scrambled eggs, and you add them into the pot at the last minute. So, anyway, I also have a big old knife. And I'm going to chop some stuff up. So, let's get to that. So, we're going to start with the Spam, which is fortunately already fairly thin, so I'm just going to cut it in the...
Just make you want to sing the Monty Python Spam song?
Spam, 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 wonderful spam, spam. So I'm just going to cube this up real quick. Try not to get my fingers in it.
Yeah, I would prefer not to have fingers in my ramyeon. It's just a preference I have.
Let's get a little bit of this green onion chopped. It's hard to grab stuff when you got Spam on your hands. Alright, so I don't have enough bowls here, so I'm going to go ahead and add the Spam to the pot, which is not on yet.
Oh, you didn't need the frying pan?
Nah, I'm just going to do it all in the pot. One pot cooking!
Oh, that's impressive for you. You usually like about 70.
Well, that's why I have like 5 bowls out here. So.
Oh, okay.
Since these are going to be cooked relatively quickly, you do not want to cut them super thick. Quarter them up and then slicing them fairly thin. Which means I may only need this half of the carrot, if that much.
Now, you can do this relatively quickly, too, if you choose. Then you don't want to have to prep all your veggies. You can use frozen veggies.
Oh, yeah, you can get that bag of frozen stuff that's got like peas, carrots, green beans, and lima beans or whatever, and just go to town.
Yeah, we've done that before.
In fact, we keep frozen veggies in their house for that reason. You can use it to make ramen or fried rice. It's good in fried rice. Yeah, we're good now. Be good with just that.
It's okay. I'm sure we've got a use for that other carrot. And now your carrot's going in there as well?
Yeah. Don't really need any oil because the Spam has that Spam gel on it. And it's going to produce its own little bit of grease when we get started, so that should be fine.
Same goes with the zucchini. We're going to go really thin on that as well.
And keep the fingers out.
Yeah, fingers are preferred not to have in there.
Alright, so the zucchini cooks a little faster than the other stuff, so we will add that in after the carrots have started to soften. Eggs, we will lightly beat. We're not trying to make an omelet or anything, we just want to mix them up. And that literally, at the end, like when you cut the pot off, or right before you cut the pot off, you just pour that in, and then put the lid on, wait about 15 seconds, turn the heat off, wait another 15-30 seconds, and the eggs are done. That's a serious last-minute addition to the pot. All right, so
we've got in here just the Spam and the carrots.
all right, so let's add some fire. That pot is not really big enough for that eye. All right, I'm gonna change eyes.
Okay, nice.
If your fire is big enough that it's literally just going around the pot, it's not really heating the pot, it's just making hot air around it. There we go. Set that to about a medium, and we will, just to be safe, I'm going to add a dash of oil. And grab one of these silicone thingies. Toss that real quick, get the oil and everything before it starts to get all sizzly. All right. We're going to let that start to warm up. I'm going to drain the duck. And we'll get right back. Cook! Cook faster!
Does that method generally work?
Yeah, not so much. Anyway, we are starting to brown up a little on our Spam here. You don't want to brown it up too much, and it's also starting to stick to the pot. So
It's time to add the dough.
we're going to add our soaked duck, which is not really going to help our water situation much, but
it cooks relatively quickly.
well, it browns up some. Anyway, we're also going to add our zucchini.
This will give you a little more water in there.
Hopefully. Worst case scenario, you can always add a little more oil to it. You don't want to add a whole lot though, because that's just going to wind up making your soup oily.
So now typically when we do this, we don't really add the tofu, but I've like gotten a real craving for it lately. So apparently I just want to add it to everything. So that was a special request that I made today. We've never had it in ramen before, but there's time for everything, right?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, it's not. There are soups that have duck in it.
Like
manduguk. Manduguk is the one with the stuffed dumplings. And not this style of duck, the solid duck.
Style.
It's got the sliced style. But that is actually really good if it's made well and got good mandu in it. But you have to be careful because sometimes you get mandu that's got veggie stuff in it, and sometimes you've got mandu that's got meat in it, and then sometimes you got mandu that's got seafood in it.
Yeah, I don't want mandu with
And
seafood.
that's no bueno. So I'm gonna go ahead and add water here. And I need to get some more water. Alright, so added some more water. There's probably an official amount of fluid you're supposed to add to this. I'm going to say add as much as works for you. Also, depending on your pot, this isn't the pot I normally cook in. So my normal method of putting water in up to the top of my knuckle probably wouldn't work here. And besides, this, in the water in it is already hot, so I don't really want to find out.
No burning, Chuck.
So I'm going to put the lid on that. Put a little more heat on it. Make sure I'm actually over the fire. There we go. And that's going to come to a boil. Since we've got the duck and the carrots in it that we need to make sure are cooked through, we're going to let it come to a boil and let it boil for a minute or two before we add the noodles. And we have our noodles over here. So noodles always come with at least 2 packs. One will be your seasoning. If you've ever had any sort of instant noodles, you've seen these before. And this will be a thing of like freeze-dried veggies that you can add. It won't hurt anything. It may or may not have seaweed in it, so if you don't like seaweed, you get used to whatever brand you have. Some of them put a lot, some of them put a little. They're nice and color-coded. These ones are blue. They're not as spicy as these because they're red.
Mm.
All right. And one other thing I'm going to add to mine, just because this is a ramen tutorial, or Ramyeon tutorial. It's still where I left it. Ah, yeah, there it is. Cheese. I know you're looking at me strange. Cheese, Chuck? Really? Yes, believe it or not. But you can't use like an actual good cheese, as weird as that sounds. You don't want like a block cheddar or anything that you would normally use to make like, you know, a good sandwich, or that you would want to shred up for Mexican food or whatever. You want that old convenience store, like Kraft sliced processed cheese. Why? This stuff melts good in the noodles, and you want it to melt into the noodles and not just goop up and float around in the sauce. So that's the thing. Oh, forgot to put the onions in.
Oh no! Suck it up. He forgot to put the onions in. What do you think, Soap?
Now normally, you notice I haven't put seasoning on anything. No salt, no pepper, no garlic, no nothing. Resist the urge to season stuff because you've got seasoning packs. And if you add more seasoning, especially salt or anything salty, it's going to be salty. And we're salty enough, so we don't need any.
May, are we salty? Are we salty, May? What do you think? Suki-Su, we salty?
Suki-Su is salty. She wants some food.
May says I'm very salty. I hear Minnie Moo. Hi, Minnie. You got your Jimmy Jams on. Minnie Moo has her jammies on because she's a cold doggy. The other two are waiting for laters.
Anyway, we're going to wait for that to come up to a boil. We'll be right back. All right, so our pot-o stuff has come to a light rolling boil. It's been that way for 2 or 3 minutes, so we're going to take a quick test of... Okay, so those are soft. Those are floppy carrots. Give me a carrot.
Floppy.
Those are looking kind of floppy. So, our vegetables are softened up. On to the next bit. So, here is another reason that we use these 2 particular brands of noodles. Well, one of the dogs just got a little bit of noodle. This one is square and this one is round. Why is this important, do you ask? So, this works better normally in my other pot, but we put that one in, and then this one we split in half, Well, anyway, normally I can fit the other two like that on the edges there, and it makes sort of a weird ramen Mickey Mouse. Is that a real thing?
Maybe.
So we're going to put this in here and try not to burn my fingers.
And then put your top back on.
So now this part is just standard ramen noodle recipe. Let it come back to a boil. Let it cook for about 2.5 to 3 minutes. And then we add our stuff to it. All right, so looking at our clock, we are at about 2.5 minutes. Let me take the lid off there. Try not to burn myself. There we go. So you can see we've got the noodles are softened up here. We got all of our stuff mixed up. This is looking like a bowl of goodness. So at this point, we are going to add, I'm going to throw in these mung beans. And got a bowl I went ahead and put all the seasoning stuff in, so we're going to dump that in here. Mix that a little. Now there's two modes of thought on the little seasoning powder. If you're adding eggs, some people add the eggs before the seasoning powder so that you just get egg in your egg, if that makes any sense. And then some people add the seasoning powder to the liquid first, so when the liquid cooks the egg, you get a little bit of the ramen seasoning in the egg. I'm going with the latter, obviously. All right, so we've got that added. Now, my container with my egg in it. I'm literally just going to pour this in a slow loop over the top. Grab the top. Let that cook with the top on for about 10 to 15 seconds so that the boiling has time to build up a little steam, a little pressure in there. Do, 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 do. And then just cut the fire off. And we're going to let that sit for about 30 seconds. And then we will pull the lid off. I'm going to rinse this out.
I'm going to look at doggies.
Doggies! Oh, my doggies! Oh, my doggy, doggies! Sucky Sue!
Really boo.
Easy, May. I'm looking at doggies. I am looking at pretty doggies.
Okay, I looked at doggies.
All right. So that should be about enough time.
It's doggy intermission, sorry.
So, yep, if you look in here, you got eggs cooked on the top. That's all it takes. You don't want to overcook them because overcooked eggs get all rubbery, and if you ever had a rubbery omelet, it's no good.
It's terrible.
It's all the wrong things in life.
So I feel like there's cheese coming soon.
There is. All right. So, I don't know how other people do ramen, but I use tongs. Try to keep it even, if you're being nice to everybody. And this is the point. I'm going to grab my cheese. I'm going to lay it right in there. And then, another big old thing of noodles on top of it. This is not the cleanest method of serving noodles. You get drips everywhere. So, I actually did not add quite as much water as I normally do, so our sauce is a bit thick.
It's okay. Thick sauce can be good too.
You could, at this point, with the stuff that's left in the pot, add a little bit of hot water to fit it up if you
Wanted more?
wanted more. We're going to be good with this, so let's go serve up. All right, so we're finally in the bowl. And I know what you're thinking. Good God, how long does it take to make a bowl of noodles? It's supposed to be like 3 to 5 minutes. Only if you're eating the imitation. We got the real thing.
And I added the green onions for.
So, yes, that's my bowl of stuff and her bowl of stuff.
Yes, I have a fork. Otherwise, it'll take me 10 years to eat my ramen.
Now, as I break this out, the cheese, if you can see it, has basically just reduced to like a cheese cream sauce.
I like a mac and cheese kind of cheesy sauce.
Yeah. There you go. Just stir that up. We got cheesy dokk. I got cheesy noodles. And the proper Korean method of eating noodles.
Includes the slurp.
The slurp is actually to cool the noodles as you're bringing them up.
Yeah, I don't eat them properly. That's why he's demonstrating the proper.
Now, you will see on, like, Korean TV shows, some dudes get, like, the great big whomping thing of noodles and shove it in their face. If you try to slurp with that in your face, you just start getting, like, little stuff slapping up into your face and little drips of stuff going everywhere. It's not pretty. It's not a good look. Just keep it to a normal amount. That's actually really good. Come try.
That's good.
See, I wasn't lying. It's actually a good
I wasn't
thing.
lying. The cheese is actually really good. I wasn't quite so sure about it. That's very good. I'm gonna eat all of yours if I don't come over here and eat mine.
Yeah, eat your own food.
All right, we gotta go because I want to eat.
Well, how's your noodles?
My noodles are amazing, of course.
How's the duck in the ramen?
The dog is really good.
Not the duck, the duck.
It's really good.
So, anyway, we are going to shove our faces. We invite y'all to try and do the same.
See you later. Bye. We're gonna eat now.